All right, we are live. We are live. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Aloha kakahiaka. Everyone, you are here on I'm Peter K, and you are with us on the Aloha Friday Hawaii Real Estate Show. Welcome, welcome, welcome. E komo mai, everyone. E komo mai. E komo mai means welcome in Hawaiian. We got a great show for you today. As usual, we got some great friends, great talks. We're going to go through some Hawaiian news. We got some market updates about the real estate market and your questions. That's the most important part of the whole show, is interacting with you and your questions. And then we're going to go through some diamonds and deals, some properties that we think are really cool, things that you want to look at, diamond properties, deal properties. Then we're going to close with some motivational thoughts. So what we're going to do first, we're going to warm up. We're going to warm up the internets and get things kind of going over here, give people a chance to join and be a part of this. And so I'm going to introduce all my friends here who are with me today. I'm really happy about this. We got Dylan Nonaka, who is from the Big Island, and we have Ashley Wasan, who's from Oahu, and we have Heidi Dellinger, who is from Maui. Glad that you guys are all here. You know, Heidi, I just had my first sip of coffee, and it's the first sip is always the best sip, bar none. How are you doing today? How's Maui? How are you? How's the coffee?
I'm doing fantastic. It's just been so gorgeous here on Maui. It's sunny and warm, but it's not too hot. And I highly recommend going on a walk in the morning and then getting your Maui coffee. It's just been gorgeous here. So happy to be here. Good to see everybody.
What's the coffee of the day today, Heidi?
It's called the Hualali blend. So
Hualali blend. All right, it
yeah,
works for me.
it's
Works
pretty
for
good.
me. Works for me. Cool. Ashley, how are you doing today? What's going on? Are you enjoying? How's the weather how's the weather been on the windward side, and how are you today?
Weather's amazing. Life is good. It's a fresh new year. Everything's great.
That's about it, right, man? That's Ashley, that's an uncharacteristically brief headline for you. And things must be really
New
things
year,
must
new
be
me.
there. You go. Things must be swimming. Hey, I want to say a shout out to She Who Laughs. Welcome back. Great to see you. I'm really glad that you're back with us. She Who Laughs. Aloha, everyone. Happy Friday. Happy Friday, man. You know, I remember, when the earliest days, when I first moved here, like the funnest thing, I used to so treasure the Friday. Man, I never quite appreciated a Friday that when I moved to Hawaii for the very first time. And we had the Fridays off, and the Friday meant the weekend, and the Friday meant the fun. And it's like, man, Aloha Friday takes on a whole deeper meaning in Hawaii. Speaking of deeper meanings in Hawaii, Dylan, what's going on? How are you doing? What's the shirt? How are you? How's the Big Island?
Got my standard living hula shirt. It's beautiful over here. It's like the perfect weather. I think this like winter weather in Hawaii is like perfect. It never gets too hot, and there's a little bit of rain, which has been helpful because it's been really, really, really dry over here. And the last couple of days we've had a little bit of rain. The grass is kind of getting crunchy, and the good news is that the grass doesn't grow, because you've heard me complain before about my part-time job being a landscaper at my house, and we've gone we can go like a month plus without cutting our grass, which I very much, again, it's the little things in life that you gotta appreciate, and that's definitely one of them, is not having to spend 4 hours on a weekend cutting grass.
So here's a question for you, and you don't have to answer, because it may be a revealing kind of a question, but are you doing the landscaping because you enjoy doing it, it's therapeutic, or are you doing it because your wife is making sure that you're well grounded by taking care of the lawn? Which of the two, or some, or neither, or both, is that?
The main two reasons are, yes, one, I do enjoy it. It's like, some physical labor, and I like the mindlessness of just like weed whacking, and then afterwards you can see like your work, so in today's digital world, sometimes like you work all day and then it's like, what did you even accomplish? You have nothing to look at and see like accomplishment, right, in the physical world. And so I definitely enjoy that, and I also enjoy the lesson that my kids get to learn of having to work. Like, they understand that that's part of their room and board, right, is to put in their couple of hours on the weekend taking care of the house. And so it's a good time. I mean, we get done with it very quickly because I got two able-bodied boys.
Oh, you got the boys. Yeah.
I'm not looking forward to having to probably pay for some help once they're gone, because I'm definitely not doing that whole thing on my own. So.
Well, we have a much, much, much smaller yard than yours, I'm sure. And I haven't done it ever. We always had gardeners, so So now in my semi-retirement, I'm taking it upon myself to do the grass, at least do the grass, which is get rid of the weeds, get it all clear, plant any new grass seed that needs to be planted. So we'll see. I haven't started yet though. I'm going to, but I haven't started yet, and I don't know when the date's going to be. All right, great. All right, everybody. Hey, listen, if you've just joined us, we'd love to have you. Make sure, please do let us know that you're here. Pop a comment in the chat. Let us know where you're from. It's always fun to kind of see who's visiting us and who is a part of it. A lot of regulars, a lot of everybody. All right, I got a bunch of news. Let's go through that really quick, and then we'll have some discussions. We have some things that we want to share and talk about, and we will go from there. I'm going to do one thing really quick though first, just to make sure in case there's any updates that need to be done to the slides. All right, let's do this. Let's hit the news and talk about what's going on over here. Okay, so like a landfill over water. That's if you know what song this is a reference to, pop it in the chat. Anyway, so it's kind of fun. We got this fun thing going on, and I'm not terribly involved in it, but it's fun to watch what's happening here with the city and county of Honolulu. There's all kinds of controversy going on because they're proposing a landfill. They need to designate a new landfill area. And because the other one's filling up. It's been filling up for decades now. But anyway, and of course they pick a landfill over a water table. And at first you think that just doesn't make sense. I'm just a common guy. That doesn't make sense to me. And no one else thinks it made sense either, but there's some experts who say that it's not a problem. I don't know. I don't trust experts anymore, and I don't think any of us do these days with what's going on with everything. But all kinds of controversy. They're proposing it, and now they're opposed. First they proposed it, now they're opposing it. So it's kind of fun. Anyway, all these horrible disasters, and my heart goes out for the people of California, and I want to talk to Heidi about that to kind of see how there's a lot of parallels between the horrible fires in California and the horrible fires that we experienced in Maui a couple of years ago. And there is I just want to report there's a lot of disaster planning that is underway, thankfully. So we'll see. Hopefully this will bring about some good results. All kinds of stories about this. Lawmakers are vowing to, first of all, they want to stabilize property insurance as these crazy storms are flying around, or these fires are flying around. Fire prevention, housing, top priorities. Hawaiian Electric submits wildlife safety plan. Sobering report issued on Hawaiian natural disaster resilience planning spending needs. There's all kinds of stories. Hopefully this is going to result in some good outcomes for Hawaii. And actually the rest of the country. I hope this is I don't know how many more wake-up calls we need to have to make sure that we're better prepared for emergencies. And next story, Hawaii Heart California. Hawaii loves California. There's a couple stories here that I thought was kind of really nice. And that is Hawaii is offering discounts to survivors and first responders. So, if you've had the horrible tragedy of losing your home, where are you going to go? Go to Hawaii. Go to Hawaii, man. Or if you're a first responder and you're wiped out and you're exhausted, come to Hawaii. And so there's all kinds of stories here that we have about 25,000 hotel rooms statewide. And thousands of these rooms are empty and could be used to house displaced fire survivors. I have to say, I think we have experience with that. Sadly, I mean, it's, maybe the silver lining there. We've had the experience of housing the Maui survivors. Why not house the California survivors too? Unsurprisingly, there's a story about local financially struggle. So there's some increasing reports that more people are having trouble getting by on more people having trouble getting by are on neighbor islands. A quarter of Hawaii households spent more than their income in 2024. Spending more than your income. That sounds familiar, doesn't it? Well, I hope it's not the case, but it's sad, and I hope that that will take care of itself. I hope they'll be able to do that. There's all kinds of reports urging Hawaii, people are struggling financially. The percentage of households below the poverty line remain unchanged at 29%. So that's sad statistic, and all too easy in Hawaii. 1,000 people left Maui since the fires. Not a good thing. Anyway, So I'm going to end on a positive note. Free the whales. There was a nice little story over here that rescuers free 2 whales entangled in lines off of Maui. 2 humpback whales were rescued in separate incidents by disentangling them from lines in waters off Maui. So I know Heidi's going to be happy about that, because Heidi, like all of us, loves the whales. So yeah, we'll see how this all goes. Nice wrap up over here. So yeah, let's talk about let's move into the market and talk about our market conditions. I want to get an update from everybody on kind of what's happening. Before we do that, I want to give a shout out to Susie Q. Hey Sue, aloha from a slightly less smoking Southern California. We missed the clean Hawaiian air. Well, don't wait. This is a great time to come out. You heard the story, Sue. Susie Q, come on out. It's a great time to come to Hawaii. The weather's beautiful. It's been fabulous. It's fantastic. All right. Why don't we do this? Let's do the market update. Let's go Dylan first. Dylan, and then
let me go last. I threw some slides in the deck,
Roger.
and then I can go last and kind of do a statewide thing.
Sounds good. You go last. Thank you, Dylan. So let's go counterclockwise. Let's go Heidi, and then Ashley, and then Dylan. Let's do it that way. Heidi, give us the update. What's happening and what is happening in Maui, and what's the Maui market like?
Well, first, I just want to say, watching all the devastation in LA and Southern California, our hearts are just going out to everybody who's been impacted, because living in West Maui through the Lahaina fires, it's just unbelievable and so incredible and scary, and just to watch that. And the California fires are like, what happened in Lahaina times 10. So our hearts are just going out to everybody. And if we can help in any way, let us know. As far as the market on Maui, for real estate, we did get our end of year stats. So for end of year 2024, the statistics show that single family homes up 8.5% year to date. That's median price. Median price of a single family home on Maui is just a little above 1.3 million. For condos, median prices are also up 8.3% across the island. Median price for condo, 900,000. Now, this doesn't truly tell the whole story of every market segment. What's interesting is the inventory has increased so significantly. New listings, single family, year to date up 18.4%. New listings for condos up 31%. We have now about 12 months of inventory for condos. So that's a year of inventory. So definitely a buyer's market. For single family homes, just around 6 months of inventory, which is more of a balanced market, buyers and sellers. So I'll just reiterate what I said last time. It is a good time for buyers. Get connected with the good agent, because different market segments are working a little bit differently. But the overall story too, and just looking at the stats, is the Maui market is strong and stable. It's still appreciating. We have limited land, limited inventory here, and it's such a desirable place to be.
Thank you, Heidi, for your kind thoughts. Yeah, it's like you said, it's in a sense, it's Maui times 10. Thousands of homes. However, I will say that the size and scope of the fire has been many times larger. But the amounts, if you look at from the amounts of people that have passed, Maui way outstrips it. So it really I forgot what it was, like 10 people, 20 people. I don't know what the number is. Have been killed in the LA fires, and 10 times that in Maui.
Thankfully, there's few casualties in LA compared to Maui. Over 100 people died, and in a small area in a small period of time. Which is just truly tragic. So
yeah.
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 Anyway,
Really,
it's
really goes really.
there's
Yeah.
no words to express.
Nope.
No words to express.
Yeah, yeah. Thanks, Heidi. I appreciate your sharing. And Susie Q, I put a link to the Susie Q asked about. She asked about, hey, can you tell us more about the first responder discount, or where can I get more info? So, Susie, I did post a link in the chat. See if you can get to that. That goes to the Hawaii News Now story where the governor saying that he wanted to have the hotels help the first responders. So please go take a look at that. And thank you. Thank you, Jesse Grace. Thank you. Welcome to the show, and prayers for all. It is unbelievable. It's really, really incredible. So, yeah. Thanks. Say Judy. Judy's back. Judy is one of our leading members of the Islander Ohana. I would call her in a sense, an elder in the Islander Ohana. Thanks, Judy. Good to see you again. Welcome back. All right, great. Ashley, give us the update. What's Oahu like? What's the Oahu market doing?
So we wrapped up the year overall with a positive momentum at a 1.7% increase in total sales. But that was a majority of single family homes. So single family home transactions were up just over 9% from 2023. However, condos were down a little bit, about 2.5% less than 2023. Interesting, 29% of single family homes sold above their asking price. That's great for our market. Condos numbers dropped though, 16%. That's because condo fees went up an average of 28%. So that's about 17% for the lower price condo and 23% for the larger units. Overall, we had a great end of the year. The luxury market was pretty consistent with that as well. For the luxury market, they went to 96, almost 97% of the asking price ending last year versus in 2023, it was at about 98%. And of the luxury market, which right now Oahu is benchmarked at 1.799, the largest amount of sales for the most active price range in luxury was between 1.8 and 1.9 million. That took up 44% of the sales.
Wow. So interesting. So what I'm catching from you on the condo versus home is that the condo price really got affected because of the increase in rates, which is is essentially effectively increasing the cost of buying the home, right? Your rates, your condo rates go up, your HOA fees, your insurance rates, all that kind of stuff. I think this insurance thing is going to be a bigger and bigger issue. I hope. I would love to talk with maybe we should find someone, Dylan, and let's maybe get some sort of a insurance person, economist. Go ahead, Ashley.
Well, I do want to add, yes, there's a lot of volatility in that condo market. I think we're seeing a lot of that sort of level out now because everyone's getting their HOA dues for 2025 and you're able to see the forecast because this has been 2 years sort of in the making with all of these adjustments. But my single family home, my mortgage payment went up $300 this year. And that's also for insurance and taxes. So you can see variations in single families and condos. And our condo went up only $30 per month. So you really in perspective, people are like, okay, well, fine, then I'll rent because I can't deal with those variations. Well, if a homeowner is experiencing that, then they're going to increase their rents to match whatever their overhead costs are going to be, or they're going to have to sell and you just don't have control. So overall, it just comes down to planning ahead, living within means and having nest eggs aside.
Yeah, that's well said. There's no getting out of this sort of mess that we're all kind of leading ourselves into with this insurance market, insurance rates going up and et cetera. So it'd be interesting. Dylan, I was going to say I want to find some sort of an insurance / economist on board because, one of the stories that I had caught, which makes complete sense to me, was that one of the reasons why, you heard these stories about insurers in California are leaving the market. Well, one of the reasons why they're leaving the market is because California was imposing price controls. And so insurers can't charge enough of a rate to cover their expenses. So I can't afford this. And so I'm leaving. And some people apparently, I don't know, but again, there's all kinds of rumors flying around. It's not, Heidi, it's not quite as bad as the space lasers from satellites, burning certain homes because of Oprah, crazy rumors. But there you do hear stories where people had their homes, they were insured, for 30 years, but then 3 months ago the insurer dropped out of the market, they didn't get reinsured in time, and now their home is up in smoke and there's no insurance whatsoever, which is terrible. Susie Q's got some experience. Thank you, Suze. Our home insurance, our homeowners insurance is 4 times what it was 5 years ago. It's brutal here. That is brutal. That is brutal. I'd love to talk to an economist that could shed some light on kind of what's going on, because there's always economics underneath it all. But I don't want to get started on my rant about economics and policy. Dylan, give us the update. What do you want to share? I've got the slide decks ready. What do you want to talk about as far as market updates?
Yeah, I'm just going to run through. I mean, I'll incorporate the Big Island on here, but like this is probably the most comprehensive set of data that you'll get. I know it's a lot of numbers, so I'm going to boil this down to be as simple as possible and give you the headline in terms of what the real estate market did in 2024. And so this first 2 set of numbers here is by island, the number of sales that happened and the number of listings currently on the market. So if you look across the board here at the top block, by each island, the number of sales that happened are pretty much flat or negative, right? So Oahu was up 0.6, Big Island was down negative 2%, Maui was down 5%, and then Kauai was actually the only island that was up, but they represent such a small portion of the overall statewide market that the statewide sales were down 0.5%. So that's about the same exact activity in terms of number of sales happened in 24 versus 23. And then on the flip side of that, if you look at the number of homes on the market, all of those numbers are crazy up across the board, right? 32% increase on Oahu, a 13% increase on the Big Island, an 82% increase on Maui, and a 26% increase in Kauai. So statewide overall, 30% increase in the number of homes that are for sale, and the number of homes that are selling is basically flat, right? So in the normal kind of like economic thought, just looking at this, you would think, okay, so there's an oversupply now, their demand isn't increasing, and what should happen? Prices should go down, right?
Prices should go down. That's what the economists say. Yes.
Yeah, so that's what you would think if you just saw that data set, right? And so
that's right.
If we go to the next set of data here, what I did was I compared 2015 to 2024. So the pre-COVID, like really, the market was really stable, right? Like 2012 to 2019, very stable, pretty normal market all across the state. So looking at those number of sales versus the number of listings, if you look across the board, sales are down, right? So if you look pre-COVID, the number of sales that are happening is actually down 12% across the state. And if you look at the number of listings on the market pre-COVID, in the pre-COVID market, we're still down 32%. So the number of listings that are on the market is still 30+% less than kind of the normal pre-COVID market. So we're still historically in a very low inventory environment, which I think we've talked about many, many times, right, across the last couple of years. And so if you go to the next slide, this tells the story of prices. So despite all of that, despite even the short-term increase in listing activity and inventory on the market and the flat number of sales, we saw an 11.8% increase in the median price across the state. And you can see per island what those numbers are, right? Up 4%, almost 5% on Oahu, up 6.5% on the Big Island, up 19%, up 20% on Maui. And that's really due to the lack of inventory. And then 12%, up 12% on Kauai. So long story short, right? Flat sales, higher inventory, and then prices continue to rise, which doesn't make any like sense in terms of like conventional wisdom. But at the end of the day, the takeaway here, if you're looking at the 25 real estate market, is it's going to be more of the same. If anything, number of sales is going to pick up. Demand is going to continue to pick up. Inventory is slowly increasing, but not at the rate where it's going to come back to. I don't know if we're ever going to get back to the rates pre-COVID, but at the end of the day, the demand is still there. Historically, inventory is still low, even though it looks like it's increasing over the short term. And that's going to cause prices to continue to be strong and to continue to rise. So anybody waiting for like the price crash, I mean, we've been saying this for years, not going to come. But I mean, definitely based on the data, there's no indication that that's something that's happening anytime soon.
Man, it's kind of funny. It's so much fun. We've been doing this now we're going on our fifth year here. We're closing our fifth year. And so I've been doing this long enough now where, never bet against the Hawaii market, man. That price crash ain't coming. That price crash that you're hoping for, it ain't coming. That was actually,
And
Dylan, that
but
was kind of, go ahead.
all that being said, right? I mean, that's big picture comprehensive. And what you heard from Heidi and Ashley is like, that's what kind of stuff you want to get. If you're looking for short-term vacation rentable condos, that market is going to have its own specific stuff. If you're looking for, a single family home on West Maui, that's going to be a different type of market. So you really got to get in touch with somebody who can break that down for you really specifically, because the statewide kind of overall macro numbers don't always tell the story for the sub markets. Like Ashley was talking about the luxury market at different price points. There's definitely segments that either outperform the statewide numbers dramatically or underperform them dramatically. So it's something to be aware of, is get that specific data for exactly what you're looking for, what you're looking to sell.
I tell you what's interesting to me, frankly, is looking at this percentage just from last year. I mean, it's kind of cool, right? Because we typically go through this on a biweekly basis, and so the changes that we see are rather small and incremental, and we typically see it's almost like more of the same from show to show. But it was good to look at this bigger picture view, and I was kind of shocked. Heidi, 19% increase in the median price in Maui. I mean, that really kind of goes to show you what goes on. That there's this huge reduction in inventory. Again, supply and demand. That's an astounding number. That's an astounding number. You have a comment on that, Heidi, at all?
No, it's just the price the price of living in paradise.
The price of living in paradise. Yeah.
But Heidi, you'd agree, right? That like, that's the overall number for, and all those numbers are residential homes. I excluded land because land can really skew data. But if you look at like the short-term vacation rental condo market on Maui versus like the normal residential market around 800 to 1.2, two totally different stories. I mean, it was definitely slow in the condo market, but the residential market it outperforms this, right? It's even stronger. So
yeah, if you're looking to buy a vacation rental condo now, I mean, we're seeing properties go into contract significantly below like where they would have sold the last couple years, and buyers do have quite a bit of leverage because there is a lot of inventory in that space, and there's some unknowns about, are there going to be regulatory changes? So, I mean, there's buyers actually, getting really good prices in that segment. I mean, we're also seeing, even though the overall stats show condo prices, median prices up, I mean, I think that is skewed by some luxury developments that closed this past year that had really high price points, like in the 3 million range. It's not truly telling the whole story. So, like Dylan said, you want to talk to your realtor about the specific area and type of property you're looking at. I mean, even for single family, we're seeing more price reductions. Sellers have to be a little bit more competitive and realistic. So it balances the market dynamics out a little more compared to a pretty aggressive seller's market that we are coming out of from a couple years ago.
Yeah. So the moral of the story over here that I'm catching on is that, yes, these are some big numbers. If you look at this, it's like, okay, yeah, these are some big big picture numbers, but it's across, it's island wide, it's encompassing all types of categories, but yet there are there are some categories that are higher, some that are lower. There's some opportunities. Interesting, Heidi. Yes, it makes total sense. The vacation rental market is still the price are below what they were because there's a lot of uncertainty, right? So there's a risk and an opportunity there. Do you risk it? Do you get, if you're into on the investment side? How do you go about that? So that's kind of interesting. Actually, I'm kind of, as Heidi was saying this, I wanted to ask you, Ashley, if someone said, hey, just out of curiosity, I want to invest in some, let's say, I want to invest in some real estate, not necessarily to live in the unit, not necessarily to live, from, let's say, an investor, let's say a rental perspective. Where are the opportunities on Oahu? You do a lot of that sort of real estate transactions. Where would you go? Where would you start looking for a good value?
I have those conversations almost daily, being my niche. I really look at the person's individual circumstances. Do they have cash? Do they already own real estate? Can we leverage the real estate that they already own? What kind of loan product can they get? What's the overhead cost going to be? And then we reverse engineer and cater it from there. I just last night was having a meeting at Boardroom, and we were talking about selling their place and getting something in Kailua because that's where they ultimately want to be, but they're relocating temporarily and they wanted to get into some condos. And right now, you're not going to cash flow on a condo when you rent it out, and they're not in the position and they don't need the tax write-offs, because that's the other thing. If you're trying to write off some of your income, then perhaps you can have a gap in what your overhead costs are going to be, because you can write off your maintenance fees, you can write off management fees and everything like that when it's an investment property. But for them, they don't have that. So we're looking at what can they purchase in house hack, legally, with being able to have 2 rentals out of the home. So when they come back, they can vacate one of them, live in one of them, and continue renting out the other portion of it. So
the answer is it depends. So the answer is it depends.
Obviously, more affordable parts of the island is a good place to start. Rents are lower there. So it all depends on
affordability.
It depends.
Find well, you want to work with one of these people here, and you want to find something that's going to fit what you're doing. I want to give a shout out to a few folks that have chimed in. You have not been skipped or forgotten. So Leanne Romo, welcome, Leanne Romo. Aloha to you. Thank you for joining us. And our good friend Misty Padilla is here. Aloha team from 702. That must be the area code. What is that, like a Vegas area code?
Yeah, her son just turned 21, so wishing Ola a happy birthday.
Okay. Wishing Ola happy birthday, Ola. Hope you're all enjoying it. I guess if you're going to have a birthday party, you might as well have it in Vegas. That is true to form.
Interesting
Misty.
fact. I wonder if you guys know information on this, that we were looking up why gambling is so illegal in Hawaii. And when one of the theories is that Vegas pays and lobbies so hard against gambling in Hawaii because they promote Vegas being the 9th island. And
so
that's 100%. That's 100% true.
And then the Japanese market too. They don't want
it's Peter's bootleggers and Baptist theory, right?
Bootleggers and Baptists.
Conservative anti-gambling people in Hawaii are funded by the gambling people in Vegas to fight gambling in Hawaii. So that's exactly what happens.
Thank you, Dylan, for bringing up bootleggers and Baptists. I'm not going to explain it because now we have ChatGPT. Folks, you want to have some fun? Go to ChatGPT and type in "what is bootleggers and Baptists," and you'll get an education on how horrible policy gets formed. But Misty, regardless of policy or not, have a great time. Vegas is so much fun. I mean, the funny part is that even if we had gambling in Hawaii, okay, whatever. But you know what? Vegas is like such a blast. It's so much fun, and it's not just about the gambling. Frankly, my wife and I, when we go there, I never pull an arm ever. I don't even, not even the nickel slots. I don't even do that. I mean, nothing. We go to we hang out at the hotel. We enjoy the restaurants. We enjoy the shows. We have a great time, and it's just good fun. Good fun for adults. For adults that turn 21, and you are welcome, Misty. Thank you, family. You are welcome. Hope you have a great time. All right, let's next slide, please. Let's move on. Hey, look, how did you get here? Did you find us through? Did you get invited through the newsletter? Did you get if you got an email in your inbox that told you about the show, you're good. If you did not get an email from us to tell you about the show, you're missing out. Go to livinginhawaii.com, get on the email list. You can always unsubscribe, and you'll get notifications. You get content. We have great content. That Eric just published a great story on Kailua, living in Kailua a little while ago. You want to get a hold of those things. It's great stuff. Go to livinginhawaii.com and hang on. All right. Dylan, I'm kind of glad that you brought this up about with this thing about local culture in Vegas. And so on the local culture, I got a big question I wanted to kind of bring up to chat with, to put across to our great friends over here. And that is this. Here's the big question for today. The big question is, what are some must-know cultural and traditions, local culture, local traditions? What would you folks say, if you had to kind of isolate this to, let's say, one thing? If you had to tell, if someone is considering they want to make the move to Hawaii, They're all excited about it. But they're mainland. They've been living on the mainland for all their whole life. Maybe they've come here for vacation once or twice, but they don't really have a good idea on the culture. What is one thing, if you had to say, that they must know about local culture and local traditions before they move over here? One thing they really, really got to know. What would that one thing be? Why don't we start? Let's go with Dylan, because Dylan's our local cultural expert. Not say expert, but Dylan was born and raised here, so he's got the best handle on and he moved to the mainland for a little while and he came back. So Dylan, we'll start with you, then we'll go down the line. What do you think is the one thing that they must know? What would you say?
I would say, and I've been thinking about this, and how do you articulate this like succinctly, right? And I guess the best I can do is to completely eliminate the mindset of like, it's not like where I came from, right? Just expect everything to be different or to be against the conventional wisdom of where you came from, because there's so many things that are different here, positive and negative, depending on what your point of view is. But I was thinking about this recently. I was having a conversation with somebody about how somebody saying like how everybody's so nice here. They moved here and they're like, everybody's so nice here and everybody wants to help you. And in talking to them, I realized that like in a lot of places, people may be nice, but they don't mean it, right? If they offer to help you or they offer to feed you or they offer to do something for you, they're just doing it because it's courteous and not because they really actually will or want to. But here it's always true, right? It's like literally like people don't realize that when someone makes an offer to house you, to feed you, to assist you or whatever it is, like it's not out of like some need to be courteous. It's really truly a genuine thing that people are out there always looking to do. And you're never putting somebody out, you're never inconveniencing them. If they offer it, it means they genuinely are offering it, and it's not going to be an inconvenience to them. And so I think that's one of those things that if you come from like a big city where like it's like there's no community and people don't really care about each other, and it's a thing that you kind of have to learn and understand and then reciprocate. And that's a big one, is doing the same. And that manifests in lots of different ways. We could talk for 3 hours about all of the ways that manifest, but I think that's a big one.
That is a big one. That understanding that people here are just genuinely nicer. And I think I'm trying to remember back 40 years ago when I first moved here. The one thing I noticed, I lived in the city of Chicago, so big city. Eye contact was like, you don't do eye contact. Absolutely, under no circumstances do you do eye contact. Do not look at anyone. Do not look at anyone, because it's going to get you killed. Whereas here, here it's like, you gotta. Maybe that's my must know. Ashley, thanks, Dylan. So your must know is not bringing forth, letting go of the culture where you live. Don't expect that to be here. And people here are fundamentally nicer and they're nicer because it's a fundamental part of the culture.
Let me give you a tangible example that just happened in the last 24 hours, right? And this is an experience between two local people that I think understand this, right? Is I get a text from my friend last night that says her friend is in Kona for a pickleball tournament, and her Tesla charger adapter is not working where she was going to charge it. She's like, I know you have a charger at your house. Like, can she charge at your house to get back to Hilo? And I'm like, absolutely, right? So just connect this with a group text. She does. I never even talked to the lady. I just text her back and say, here's my address. If you want to come over at 7:30 tomorrow, I can take you back into town on my way into town. And she did. She just showed up, and we charge her car's charging at my house right now. But like, that's after thinking about that, I'm like, a lot of times people feel super uncomfortable doing that, right? And then here's just like a natural thing. Like, I got a friend that can help you, and they'll help you, and it just happens, and it's like an afterthought, and it's not a big deal. But it's a good firsthand example of kind of how people operate here, and just the mutual understanding that we have.
See, now thank you for bringing that up. Here's the takeaway on that. The takeaway on that is you didn't even think about it as you were doing it. You didn't even think about it as you were doing it. It's just like a natural, like, bam. It wasn't like, oh, I'm now expressing the Aloha spirit. Let me uphold the local culture and the tradition. I need to be a good person, and so I'm going to do this. Like, no, it's just like, falling out of bed. It's just like, bam. And that, I think, is one of the big takeaways. All right. Thanks, Dylan. Ashley, what's yours? What's your must know? What is one thing that somebody must know about local culture or local traditions before they move out to Hawaii?
There's land. Their land has a lot of meaning. and understanding certain parts of the language, stories, history, and just giving grace on your patience and other people's timeline being slower than yours. Just overall understanding the pace is different here, and there's a lot of strong emotional ties to land and stories.
So give me an example. Your other half is, as you mentioned many times, is local roots, part Hawaiian. I'm assuming Hawaiian ancestry. Give me an example that you could think of that sort of illustrates the sacredness, the local feeling of how the land is sacred. And I know you're also a naturalist too. So give us a good one, a good story, or a good sort of an example of that, how the land is sacred.
He's Duke's great or second or third cousin. And he's got a pretty strong family lineage. So for him, it's very aquatic. He's super tied with the ocean. And when he's riding waves and he's doing something in the water, he truly believes that it's connecting with his ancestral roots. For example, his mom also is a big paddler. And so they incorporate just flowers, leis, the language, and a lot of their conversations and a lot of their gatherings. Obviously, everyone's pretty overwhelmed and overstimulated, and that never stops. Just piggybacking on Dylan's point of them servicing others, bringing food for birthdays or for retirements or for funerals. They do all their funerals on the water as well. So theirs is closely tied to ocean, I've noticed. But as far as clients speaking, we were just at dinner last night, and there was a guy who's born and raised in Lanikai. And he said when he was a child in Lanikai, on a certain ridge, which used to be called Ka'elepulu, and there's a street there still called Ka'elepulu, and that used to have a cave underneath it. And he dug in because he was the littlest one and he could fit through the cave. And my girlfriend Leanna was just talking with him last night and telling me the story. And he dug through and he chipped it open so that the adults could fit in. And inside, under this hill, is this massive opening with a canoe underneath it. And it's just been built over and filled over. So I think that there's a lot of history and culture here that people like to carry those stories on and just be appreciated and acknowledged. Understanding that life does evolve in certain ways, but just listen and care and be involved.
That canoe, that's a great story about the cave in the canoe. My understanding is that Native Hawaiians, part of one of the burial, it could be a burial cave, because they would put a canoe. One would be buried in a cave in a canoe. The canoe symbolizing the journey to the other world, to the dream world of Po. So that's very, very possible. I remember once we went on a hike in Kauai, and we found a burial cave, and in that burial cave was a canoe, and it was like wild, just a mind blower.
Cool. It's still there. It just was built on top of the cave is not filled, but it's still there.
This is a great point that's kind of connected to our Vegas discussion earlier, right? It's like a lot of places that you go, and I think Vegas is a perfect example, is like 100% artificial. like 200 years ago, there was nobody there, right? So it's not like, I mean, they just created something out of nothing, and there isn't like that historical just connection to the place, which is definitely, I mean, there's places definitely all around the world that do have that are very historical, but there's lots of places that aren't, and that are relatively new, modern, within the last 100 years was built. And so it's just a thing that you're not aware of when you are raised in a place like that, the difference in the connection. So that's a great point that Ashley's making.
Man, talk about
they don't want to stay in the hustle and the grind. A lot of people here don't want to they're bitter and they're frustrated that they're having to participate in a grind because they are part of this, nation, and they don't want it. So they rather live a simple, more humble life. They rather, not invest money into houses and stuff like that, and just be on togetherness and at the beach. And so you have some resonance of that, and you receive it and you acknowledge it, and then you say, but you are here, and you have to continue shifting and growing with it, and just being patient with their emotions and their feelings, but then still help them push forward and be like, well, you still got to be able to survive in here. So let's get you into something. Let's figure out how you can better your life.
Yeah, I think the Native Hawaiians might do well by learning from the Native Americans, who took many hundreds of years to figure out that they need to be in control of the political process. Now they're like a beast, right? Native Americans on the mainland, they're part of the political process. They got lobbyists. They got they've converted the reservations not converted, but they've got casinos on the reservations that are earning them a lot of money. They've kind of figured out a way to blend it in. I think everyone's got to do that. Dylan, I have to say, you brought the most amazing dichotomy I could possibly imagine. We have Hawaii, which is this natural beauty, and you have Las Vegas, which is 100% fake. Everything's fake. The boobs are fake. The buildings are fake. The entertainment is fake. Everything is fake, and it's great. And it's great.
I also like the fake. I mean, literally think of someone imagineering something and then they just go and build it. I also think that's cool.
It's totally cool.
And that's why I think there's no threat from Hawaii to Vegas, because you could never replicate that here. I mean, like, let alone land use laws and stuff. The community would never go for it. But like, yeah, you might be able to build one like standalone casino at a resort or whatever. But the experience of Vegas and just the litany of things you can do and see is like, you could never replicate that here.
You could never replicate it.
It'd be too different. It'd be two different complete products,
Two different worlds. Different worlds. All right. Wow. Long-winded, but good stuff. Hey, by the way, if you're watching, whether you live in Hawaii or not, if you've got something that I'd love to hear what you think about, what is must-know cultural or local culture, local traditions, Hawaii culture, Hawaii traditions that people must know before they move here. I'd love to hear from you. Pop it in the comments. We'd love to include you as part of the conversation. Thank you for that. All right, Heidi, what's yours? You've been here for a long time. You've been here for well over a decade. You've gone through your whole blending process. You came here from a small town in Illinois, as you've said many times. Fill us in. What's your one thing that people have to know about culture or traditions, or about the way Hawaii is before they move?
I think if you're moving to Hawaii, you definitely need to embrace that it's not going to be like where you came from, and you have to be open to something new. And the one thing to be aware of is just the culture of respect and aloha and kindness to everybody that you meet. I mean, if you're trying to get things done in business and you're yelling and screaming at people, that's not going to be effective here. It's a different approach to influence. Also, even though I've lived here over 10 years, I mean, I still consider myself a guest and an outsider. And I know people that have lived here generations that are still have this respect that they're a guest. They came from somewhere else. I mean, Hawaiian history there is a long history of exploitation of Hawaii's people and natural resources. And I think some awareness of just understanding where people are coming from and their perspectives is really important, because it's certainly different from where I grew up in Illinois. So, I mean, I think the more you can learn about it, the better. But if you approach people with love and respect and kindness, you will be embraced. I believe that. And there's a lot of really wonderful people here. And just a small story, most people probably know when you visit someone's home, you take off your shoes before you enter. And that is truly, truly ingrained. I was hosting an open house last week, and this family came to my open house. And I mean, it's a vacant property. Nobody lives there. And I was trying to be nice, or what I thought was being nice. And I said, "Oh, you can leave on your shoes." And they just looked at me like I was completely crazy. And they took off their shoes and then they came in.
You know, Heidi, I'm so glad you brought that up because I mean, I think it's somewhat well known about taking your shoes off, although maybe we take it for granted. But I think what's really interesting is you're saying that. Um, what's really amazing to me is that, of course, you take your shoes off before you go into someone's house, but even when you call over the plumber, when the plumber shows up to your house, the plumber takes his shoes off before he walks into your kitchen, you know? So it's kind of really hilarious, right? Because all, you know, like, or, you know, any kind of person that you, any worker that's going to come and do some, you know, move the, whatever, any kind of, so the fun part is that like plumbers have like really clean shoes and clean socks because they know they're going to take their shoes off when they go into your house. So everyone's like, you know, really clean because that's the part that kind of like really is like one of these like unexpected, mind-blowing things. All right. Great discussion, everybody.
And when you go to a party, make sure and don't lose your shoes because that's happened to me before.
Have a
I
unique
ended up with
looking
some different slippers than I came with.
Exactly. Make sure your slippers look a little bit different. Don't get like the normal black cheap slippers because there's a million black cheap slippers that you used to get from Longs that are going to be sitting all over the threshold. All right, great. Hey, great discussion. Thanks, you guys. It's always good fun to kind of have these things to talk about. All right, let's move on. Let's talk about our diamonds and deals. Our friends have prepared some properties here that they have for you that they'd like to look at, that they want to highlight. Some diamonds, some deals, some both. Let's see who's first here. Heidi, what are we looking at here, Heidi?
So this is a new listing I just listed at a property called Hololani. It's a direct oceanfront high-rise building. It is hotel zoned, so you can do vacation rentals. It also allows pets, which is unusual for a property of this type. 2-bedroom, 2-bath, listed at $1,020,000. It was remodeled in 2022, new porcelain floors throughout, cherry wood cabinets. And just for somebody who wants to be right on the water, have that option to do vacation rentals, this is a pretty cool property.
What's the
Man, I want
fees?
The HOA fees are high. They're over $2,700 a month for HOA fees. They do include everything, all your electric, but
I'll tell you one thing. All I was, you know, HOA fees aside, I just want to wake up in that bedroom in the morning. That's all I'm saying right there. I just want to wake up in that bedroom in the morning. Is that just out of curiosity, is that a west or east? Heidi, am I going to see amazing sunsets or amazing sunrise? I'm assuming sunsets, probably facing west, but I'm not sure.
Yeah.
Sunsets.
So you're looking straight west. You'll see sunsets all year. You'll see whales out there.
Man.
Yeah, this is located in Kahana, which is all of West Maui is considered Lahaina, but it's not in Lahaina town. It's a neighborhood to the north.
Wow, that is cool. You just can't beat Hawaii properties, man. You just can't. You know, the most stunning Hawaii property will beat anything else on the planet, bar none. All right, thank you, Heidi. That's a great property. Ashley, what are we looking at here on Kuhio Avenue?
We did not plan this, but this is also a legal short-term vacation rental on Oahu.
Perfect.
This is a 2-bedroom, 1-bath for $850,000. It looks over city and mountain views. It's listed by another agent at our company, EXP Realty, and Shireen Duncan, and it's 433 square feet. So we don't have tons of resort zones here available. The maintenance fees on this is $1,200. Well, it's $1,052, but there's a special assessment, so it's a total of $1,219.
So, like you said, this is one of these rare. There's only a few zones on Oahu. There's 3, if I'm not mistaken, right? There's only 3 designated zones where you could rent out a unit, and this is one of, because Kuhio Avenue, it's in Waikiki, essentially. So.
Yeah.
Right by
the irony that we both listed short-term vacation rentals.
Wait till you see mine.
How do you get 2 bedrooms and 433 square feet?
That's a great question. Very strategically, my first house that I bought was 500 square feet, and it was 2 bedrooms as well.
Well, my listing's 1,066.
And yours
There
looks
you
directly
go.
over the ocean. There's no comparison. The only difference is
Oh,
mine
we're
is
gonna.
on
Oh, this is great. We need
other
to have the
rock.
battle of the. We need to have the battle of the units. This is great. Mine's 1,000 square feet, and yeah, but yours is. This is great. We need to have a battle. That's the new segment. That's the new segment we need to
Well,
do.
I'm about to
Mine is
join.
squished in
I'm about to
between a
join the
bunch of
debate.
buildings.
So
Oh, I
Okay,
can't wait.
let's
This
see
is
what Dylan has.
so before I'm going to do a cliffhanger here in a sense. So before we do, so here's what's one of the funnest things about this show, and we've all been here long enough where we've seen this countless times. There's this amazing synchronicity because nobody looks at the listings of the other person before they set up the slide deck. No one knows. And so many times we've had this amazing synchronicity. Either the properties that are shown have this incredible synchronicity, or later on the words of wisdom that we share have this amazing synchronicity. It's not the first time. In fact, it happens all the time. So I can't wait. So Dylan's been like priming us up. So let's see what Dylan's got. Dylan, what do you got today?
I got to show everybody up, and again, we do not plan this, so it's crazy. But I also have a short-term vacation rental right in the heart of Kailua Kona. It's a 1-bedroom, 2-bath, but actually can easily sleep two couples because the living room is large. But it's 879 square feet and only 725. So if you look at the comparison of, I always talk about your dollar goes further on the Big Island, but I mean, beautifully remodeled kitchen, that bedroom has an ocean view outside of it, and the lanai, which you can see as the main picture there, is pretty large. So like in total, that's not counted towards the square footage that you see on the records. It's over 1,000 square feet of space, and that can be like your dining room, and it's overlooking Kailua Bay, and it's literally a couple minute walk into Coconut Grove Marketplace, which has tons of restaurants and nightlife, and Ali'i Drive is a 15, not even 15-minute walk away. So right in the heart, you can vacation rent 2 parking stalls, which is huge a lot of times at condo complexes, and the HOA is like $850, so it's pretty reasonable in terms of HOA cost. So it's a great option.
Damn it. Well, we have the shell.
This is great. This is great. A battle of the properties here. Dylan, one thing that you mentioned that's stuck on me. Did you say that the covered lanai that we're seeing on in that shot is 1,000 square feet?
Oh, no. It's probably another like 200 plus square feet.
Okay.
It's a pretty big lanai. So it's like if you total that
huge.
up with the 879 interior square footage, you have definitely over 1,000 square feet of space. Got it.
And the thing is, Kona's weather is so perfect that you could. I think it would be fun to kind of sleep out there at night. That'd be like a really cool place to kind of hang out and just kind of, camping, luxury camping. You've got the house right behind you, and your kitchen's right behind you. But meanwhile, you're kind of getting the quote unquote camping experience in your home. That's totally cool.
You can definitely do that. A lot of people have puneis, right? Day beds out in the lanai, so it's like you can kind of relax, take a big couch, and you can sleep on it if you want. So yeah, definitely.
Ooh, man, what a place to take a nap! What a place to take the world's greatest afternoon nap. Holy moly, you just motivated me on that one. That is a great one. All right, cool. Hey, thanks. That was a great combination, a great collection of real estate. And I'm thinking we need to have a show where like it's battle of the properties. We have like, I'm just kind of throwing this out there right now. We have like, okay, you bring a mystery property. There's no pre-planning. No one sees the other person's property, and there's like a focus, like the best home or the best this or the best that. Bring your best. That would be hilarious. Not hilarious, but I think that would be entertaining. What do you folks think? What do you think about that idea? Should we do something like that? So let us know. Throw it in the comments. Meanwhile, we're going to move on, and we're going to bring this show to a close. We've got some closing thoughts, and if you've got some closing motivational quotes that are meaningful to you, please pop those in the comments as well. We'd love to see them. But for now, let's hit the first one here, which is Ashley's. Ashley's, what's yours, and why is it meaningful to you?
If you want to change, expand your mind. Old ways do not open new doors. I am a firm believer that you should always be reading, listening, learning, because life just changes so drastically once you start learning something new. And if Yeah, I think back to the power of books, right? How quickly did we progress as a society once printing became available and once books became available in text, and now social media. So keep expanding your minds.
Keep expanding your minds. Yes, just look to the Reformation if you want to find out what happens when the printing press shows up and the Bible gets mass produced. It would change the world, completely change the world in revolutionary ways. Thank you, thank you, thank you, Ashley, for sharing that. Okay, Heidi, what's yours?
All you need is the plan, the roadmap, and the courage to press on to your destination. So, I mean, this can really apply to anything in life, no matter what your goals are. I guess I'm thinking in terms of the new year and New Year's resolutions. And it can also be if your plan is to move to Hawaii, get connected with this group and get some help. And then also have the courage to press on to your destination and go to where you want to go.
I think that's the key, Heidi, is the courage. Planning is, we could all write out a plan, we could all write out a roadmap, but it's the courage to take that conviction, right? It's the courage to follow the plan that you have created. I think that's a good one. Thank you, Heidi, for sharing that. I really appreciate it. Dylan, what's yours?
The reward of work well done is the opportunity to do more. And I always remind my kids of this, right? I mean, that's your goal is to do the job, no matter how bad it is, as well as you can possibly do it. Because if you want to get a better job or more responsibility, you got to be able to be trusted doing the worst job. So that's the reward, is working hard and doing a good job will get you more work.
It's kind of funny that I'm glad that you brought that up, because it reminds me of that's one of the things I taught my daughters early. And one of my daughters picked it up at a really early age, and another daughter, she took a little while to pick it up. But I said, look, you have to make yourself completely invaluable. Whatever it is, you have to make yourself invaluable. You have to be the person that everybody says we can't do without her. We can't do without her. And if you do that, you're going to be fine. And that has served them well. So this is that in quotes. All right, and I'm going to end, of course, with my expected proverbs. So this is interesting. So it says, Proverbs 15:32 says, "He who disdains instruction despises his own soul, but he who heeds rebuke gets understanding." And and what I did with this is like, what the hell does this really mean? And this is why God created ChatGPT, because if you throw this in there and ask the AI agents to reinterpret it, it says, if you ignore advice or correction, you are essentially harming yourself. It suggests that rejecting discipline or constructive criticism is a form of self-neglect or self-disrespect. However, if you listen to and accept correction, you grow in wisdom and understanding. This part highlights the value of being open to feedback and learning from it, leading to personal growth. So if you look at it that perspective, what's amazing to me is that this is something that you hear every single time. Any motivational speaker, any success speaker, any success coach says this all the time. But they had it first 3,000 years ago. And that is the beauty of Proverbs, the amazing beauty of Proverbs. All right, folks. Well, that's it. We're gonna cut it for us. This has been a great show as always. We're gonna see you again in 2 weeks. It's been a lot of fun. You guys are the best. Let's say goodbye. Let's do it clockwise. Dylan, Ashley, and then Heidi. Say goodbye.
Aloha, everybody. Have an awesome long weekend. Happy Martin Luther King Day on Monday.
Aloha, everyone. Have a good weekend. We should have done Martin Luther King quotes. Dang it.
Dang it. We should have done MLK quotes indeed.
No prior planning. That's how we do the show, right?
That's right.
Aloha, everybody. Happy Friday. Have a great weekend.
Have a great weekend, everybody. And yes, we do honor Martin Luther King, who had some amazing quotes, and a man that was led by God clearly to do what he did for our country. Have a great one. Aloha. Take care, everybody.